This is the first view of Colorado for CDT hikers heading northbound. After 1,250 kilometers of New Mexico, Cumbres Pass and a hitch to Chama mark both the end of one state and the beginning of the next. The Colorado section is among the hardest hiking of the CDT and runs short of 1,200 kilometers or 700 miles from Cumbres Pass in the south to the Colorado-Wyoming border between Steamboat Springs and encampment in Wyoming. As the CDT in Colorado generally stays above 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters for the entirety of the state, hiking, especially in late spring or early summer, comes with its own set of challenges. Snow, low temperatures, altitude, and unstable trails make hiking here in late spring very challenging, as the trails are often still covered in snow and few people have passed before. Kicking things off, the first resupply stretch takes you from Cumbres Pass to Wolf Creek's Pass, where a hitch to Pagosa Springs is the only sensible resupply option. Back on the ridgeline, the trail generally stays between 10 and 12,000 feet or 3,000 and 3,600 meters, which forces especially early season hikers to make a choice here. Follow the high route, shown in this video, or take the Creed cutoff straight north through the city of Creed. The latter option is sensible in high snow years and bad conditions, whereas the high route is certainly more scenic and strenuous. Depending on which route you took, the next resupply stop for most people heading northbound is Creeks Pass, where you can take a hitch to Lake City to resupply and get going for the third stretch of the state. The average start date for northbound hikers is around mid to late April. With average hiking pace, the bubble of northbound hikers gets to Colorado around 35 days later, meaning late May. At this time of year, hiking at around 11,000 feet of altitude, like in this part of Colorado, leads many people to group up, at least temporarily. Safety in numbers isn't necessarily the best advice for gliding avalanche prevention, but it can be helpful if done sensibly. The stretch from Creeks to Monarch's Pass, where the majority of hikers take a hitch to Salida for resupply, is about 160 kilometers or pretty much exactly 100 miles. This stretch is also notably more remote compared to the middle section of Colorado with its ski resorts and towns along the trail. Having hiked about 50 days at this point, most hikers now are quite fit and have their trail legs. Further up the trail, you continue over Cottonwood Pass, Lake Ann Pass, and Hope Pass to make it to Twin Lakes. This region of Middle Colorado generally feels a lot more vivid compared to the southern parts, especially as summer season slowly starts to move in. Towns such as Aspen to the west, Colorado Springs to the east, or Breckenridge further north are known way beyond the state's borders. This section of Colorado has more options for resupply than most. Twin Lakes, Leadville just a few miles north, and Breckenridge right after it all offer stores, restaurants, and shelter if needed. In the wintertime, this region is world famous for skiing both on and off piste, so moving through it too early before summer season starts can lead to closed doors at some establishments. Breckenridge is located at around two-thirds of the state's distance and it has a good stop to rest before hitting one of the many highlights of the CDT. It offers all the amenities of a well-developed town and even has some gear options in case of need. Right out of the city gates, hikers need to choose to either stay on the red line or hit the Argentine Spine alternate, which takes you over a ridgeline, Argentine Peak at almost 4,200 meters, to finally hit Grace Peak at 4,350 meters or 14,276 feet, the highest point on the CDT's red line and a must-see for any CDT hiker. The trail continues to wind its way north, following the spine of the divide, past the mining ghost town of Bakerville. Even though there are additional resupply options at St. Mary's, most hikers decide to push through all the way to Grand Lake. The trail goes straight through the city, which makes for a nice change, as no trail to town transfer is necessary. Not only is this the lowest section of Colorado, the trail actually dips below 10,000 feet for a change, but Grand Lake also offers the option to shave off a few miles if saving some time is necessary. The Rocky Mountain alternate heads straight north from the city towards Bowen Pass, leaving out the loop around Flattop Mountain altogether. Parkview Mountain marks the second to last major peak of the state, before the trail continues towards Rabbit Ear Pass, just off Highway 40. This pass allows fairly easy access to Steamboat Springs, which for many hikers is the final resupply of Colorado. Back on the trail, with a heavy pack full of food all the way to last to the Wyoming border, The trail continues to follow the Divine Spine and eventually passing Lost Ranger Peak, the last Colorado mountain hitting almost 12,000 feet. The remaining miles of the state hopefully come easy, as the border to Wyoming is within grasp. If you're still walking at this point, congratulations! You've hiked close to 2,500 kilometers, almost half of the entire CDT. Welcome to Wyoming, the least populous state of the United States.